The Vice President.
Honorable member, this debate is not an adjournment debate. The line ministries are there. You can ask them any question anytime about details. Until this was done following consultations. They are not here to, you're talking about, you know what the Honorable nominated member, Keba Lamfofana, and I think it was Sabak Sanjal, they made a good summation of what the president is supposed to do. They told us that the president is to give a concise report on the policies and programs of government. You don't expect the president to give you those details. Then we'll be here for 3 weeks before he finishes. So what we are doing is this is just one component. If you want to know anything, the relevant ministries are here. You can consult them for any details up to the last butut. So that is not the problem. The vice president will respond to the issues. If the vice president so requires, he may call on a minister or somebody to make a certain clarification that probably he could not do. Please.
Honorable Speaker, members of the National Assembly, members of the Cabinet here are present. Let me first of all take this opportunity to thank all the members of Parliament of the National Assembly who expressed some prayers for us coming from the Hajj, and we pray that Allah accept all our prayers. So we thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I think I will just, as has been proposed, just try to hopefully give a brief response on some of the issues that have been raised as far as this honor is concerned. I will also join colleagues in thanking His Excellency the President for delivering a wonderful speech as far as we're concerned. I think the speech was very good and the delivery was also very good. Honorable Speaker, I think there are a lot of issues that have been raised as regards a lot of issues surround the issue of accountability, particularly in terms of the local authorities. But I think as the statement has mentioned, that the IFMIS is now extended to local government authorities. That means that accountability is going to be enhanced. Some of the questions that are raised, I don't think will be an issue as long as the IFMIS is extended to them. Right now, I think what we are seeing from the Commission is the fact that the IFMIS is not there. That's why they are operating again from the audit reports that are reaching this assembly indicates that they are working outside of that system. But when they are connected, there is no way that they will be able to operate outside that system. Honorable Speaker, I think a lot of issues have been raised as far as the Ministry of Agriculture is concerned. As far as the issue of the tractors have been raised, the procurement, I am informed that the procurement of the tractors is already on. I think many members raised that question, but the procurement is already on, the tractors and the rotovators. The issue of, some members mentioned the issue of that agriculture is not just crops, also animals. That is why the name itself has been changed to include husbandry also. Some members also raised the issue of the fertilizer, that organic fertilizer, rather than using the regular fertilizer that we are using. I'm informed that, in fact, currently you may realize that the organic fertilizer is being tested in many communities. And the Ministry of Agriculture also has the policy to increase it gradually so that very soon you will now have the majority of organic fertilizer rather than the chemical fertilizer that we have been used to up to this time. There are some members that raise the question of sustainability of the subventions or as far as the subsidy that the government is putting in terms of the fertilizers and also in terms of buying the groundnuts. And the question is, and I think as the Honorable Member for Olunum has expressed it, sometimes if we don't put the subsidy, then it becomes very expensive, and then everybody complains. And then when you put the subsidy, we are saying the subsidy is not sustainable. Yeah, we know it's a challenge, but the government has to balance the needs of the populace and try to make sure that we have the right type of subsidy. I know that many financing institutions, including the Minister of Finance himself, will always raise this issue of subsidy. But I think until we are able to stand on our own feet, I guess the government will continue to find the right level of subsidy as far as the fertilizers and the granules are concerned. Honorable Speaker, I think in terms of fisheries, a lot of the issues centered around one of the key issues was the issue of the 90% as far as water is concerned. I guess the Honorable Member questioned the 90% for 2023. But he did not question the 86% for 2010. Because if the 86% is feasible for 2010, then 13 years later you increase by 4%, that means it's really feasible. But I guess the real answer would be, what is the indicator? We don't have it at this point. I cannot tell you what the indicator is. But as you know, in any target you have what the indicator is defined. It may be in terms of distance, or something similar. But at this point, we don't have that. But we can provide that. We can provide that later on. Honorable Speaker, I think a lot of issues came as far as infrastructure and roads are concerned, and some honorable members, I guess the member for Birkama South, some of those roads that we have mentioned are actually part of the plan, and I think some of them the foundation had already been laid for some of those roads. But I informed that particularly the road you mentioned from Birkama to Mandinari is also part of the plan. The Africa 50 has been mentioned. And I think the Honorable Minister of Finance will inform you that actually there is progress in terms of the discussion. But maybe, as members have said, you can ask some specific questions for him later on. But just to inform you that there is progress, and there are a lot of things that are missing. I would also humbly remind ourselves that the Senegambia Bridge that we are talking about was actually a grant by the African Development Bank. And the Africa 50 is an institution of the African Development Bank. It's like the institution that gave you this bridge is telling you, I want to help you to maintain the bridge so that you can have better, make better use of it. So for me, really, there shouldn't be any question about how genuine that is. And one of the things that we have also discovered in terms of discussion is that there was the bridge was not insured. And in fact, I think the minister can confirm that because of the lack of maintenance, the lifespan of the bridge has actually been shortened. That is why we have to be very quick in terms of having this agreement. If we have not had it, then in the next 20-25 years, we are now going to look for funds to have another bridge. So that is the real situation. But like I said, the discussion are far advanced. Very soon, that should be finalized and implementation will move on. I think there is a lot of discussion in terms of trade some members mentioned the issue of the agreement with the Saudi and the UAE government. I think one member is saying, we are shipping our labor outside. We are not shipping our labor outside. What is happening is that currently, as we know, some Gambians are there employed in very precarious situations. What the Minister of Trade has done to actually formalize those agreements to provide protection for Gambians who are there. All right? Right now, some people will tell you that they are actually living on what you can describe as slavery conditions. You work for a certain level, and then the person who supposedly links you with them is taking more of what you are earning. But this agreement is actually providing protection so that, if there are any issues, then the government can come in and support. But you're actually going to earn whatever you have been employed. To do. Honorable Speaker, I think in terms of energy, there was some issues around the 800 communities that are to be connected, and there was a question on when that is going to take place. I'm being informed that actually the plan is that all the 800 communities will be connected by the end of December 2024. That is, by the end of this year, all of these 800 communities will be connected, whether it's in the Jaras or in the Nyomis, as the member for Lower Nyomi has indicated. Honorable Speaker, I think in terms of wildlife, although I think the question was raised in terms of tourism and culture, but one of the members actually mentioned the issue of the Abuko and then the earlier proposal of trying to link it with the Fatala Forest Park. Honorable Speaker, I want to inform this August Assembly that actually, yes, those discussions had actually progressed. And in fact, the Fatala management had actually invested some money in the Abuko, but they felt they encountered some resistance with the Abuko community, whereby people were encouraging to an extent that actually they had to just run away and leave all their investment there. And I think we have had this discussion with the Honorable Minister of Environment. I think they are seeing how to address that. Again, it comes back to the issue of land availability, as far as, because the community, they were complaining about lack of sporting facilities, and I think even the administration of the Fatala Park actually provided some parks, but of course you give them one, they ask for another. Honorable Speaker, we take note of a lot of the issues that are raised as far as even before that, I know some honorable members have raised the issue of NDMA and NDMA policy. I want to assure the honorable member that actually the NDMA is actually far advanced in terms of developing a policy. And that policy was actually, very consultative, starting from bottom up. That is why it has not yet reached, in fact, the draft is yet to reach the cabinet for approval. But I can assure you that with support from partners, they have actually developed a comprehensive policy for disaster risk mitigation. Honorable Speaker, I know there are lots of issues that are raised as far as land issues are concerned. The Minister of Lands is actually looking at that, and I am sure, as you may realize, the Honorable Minister has actually put a moratorium on certain areas. Some of the conflicts that are mentioned in the SONA and some that have been mentioned by some members. Some members here are also taking note, particularly the member for Birkama South actually has highlighted some areas which we have taken note of, and I'm sure in due course we'll give you some appropriate responses. Honorable Speaker, I think the issue of the SIPCA contract has been mentioned, and I know that it emotes a lot of emotion, but I want to assure you that the government is actually aware of some of the issues, and some of those issues will be elevated, and we see how we can address them in due course. It will be very irresponsible of me to now give you a direct answer, but to tell you that we are aware of some of those issues, which includes also some legal issues that have to be considered. But yes, some of the issues, as far as the company is concerned, reach us at a later stage. Okay, but I guess we'll use due diligence through the Minister of Justice to see how to move on. Honorable Speaker, I think a lot of members touch on the issue of the vacancies. Even though some members here are not satisfied with some of the response, because the vacancy of 8,427, as was mentioned, and the next paragraph mentioned the challenges in terms of filling those vacancies. But Honorable Speaker, I think you recall that at some point there was a moratorium as far as recruitment in the security forces were concerned. This is part of that. But we are informed that now together with the Public Service Commission, particularly with the health personnel, they are trying to fast track this recruitment and also have some group interview rather than individual interviews. That will fast track the recruitment of those personnel as required. Honorable Speaker, I think there has a lot of discussion in terms of national security, in terms of the remuneration as far as the security forces are concerned. Just to assure you that this government is committed to making sure that the security forces are properly remunerated. I don't want to go to the specifics at this point, but I can assure you that the Judicial Service Commission, not the Judicial Service Commission, the security commissions are actually looking at that. And they have already been done some review. Sometimes, as some members have said, sometimes it's not the salary that is in question. There are other considerations that make people live. But I think, although one member talked about brain drain, I think we are now in an age where we don't talk about brain drain, because we are actually benefiting a lot from the remittances. In some countries, they have a deliberate policy to send their people out so that they can benefit from those remittances. As we have been informed that at some point the remittance actually fluctuating between 25 and 30% of GDP. So therefore, them going out probably may not be as bad as we used to think. Although our intention is to make sure that we build capacity in country. Honorable Speaker, I think a lot has been discussed as far as the issue of drugs are concerned, particularly this issue of the Kush. Honorable Speaker, I want to assure the members that the government is actually doing quite a lot as far as this menace is concerned, both at the level of the Security Council and at the level of Cabinet, because the Honorable Minister of Health has actually brought this to to the level of cabinet, because it's not just a security issue, it's a health issue. Even before we started, realizing these deaths, the health minister has brought it to cabinet, and they have a cabinet subcommittee that is actually looking at that. But, Honorable Speaker, it will also be important to note that sometimes there is a cocktail. The information we have is that they add other things. They add other things to this drug that makes it more dangerous. That is why you have all these fatalities, to a point where even some hard drugs, some pharmacies are actually restricting certain hard drugs because they use those hard drugs to mix this, to make it more dangerous. So, but again, government is doing all it can, but there are certain levels that government, is very actually limited in terms of how far we can go, because sometimes these are happening in homes. I know some members mentioned the issue of regulation, but there exist some regulations as far as the sale of alcohol is concerned. As far as the acts are concerned, you are not supposed to sell alcohol, to anybody below the age of 18, as far as I recall. And those regulations are there. And the police are also there to police those regulations in terms of the on-license and off-license. Also, who should sell alcohol? All of those regulations are there. It's not for lack of regulation, but like I said, sometimes it's very difficult because evidence has shown that some of these youths, they come with bottles that are unmarked, all right? And like I said, they can buy some innocent alcohol and add some other dangerous cocktails, cocktails there. Honorable Speaker, I know that a lot of mention has been made in terms of education. Now, we take note of some of the issues about the Kanelai Institute. We take note of that. But I think the member for Same mentioned the lack of skill centers in CRR North. But, Honorable Speaker, I want to inform the honourable member that actually the plan is there to build a skill center in Wasu. But the problem we are facing as a government now is that the moment you identify a place for development, you have all of these, what I would call backstreet lawyers, who now go to those communities to make sure that they now claim for compensation from government. This is one of the things that is actually stalling that project, because the community will now try to claim for things that are really far beyond what the government can afford. So I think we would really require the support of National Assembly members in those communities. I think we see it in Combo South and many other areas. The moment government announces some project or some development, then they now begin to prepare themselves in terms of compensation coming from government, which sort of stalls our development efforts. Honorable Speaker, I don't think I need to mention some of the bills that has been mentioned in the SONA, because a lot of the National Assembly members have spoken to those, and the Constitution, which is currently being discussed at the level of cabinet, hopefully will come here very, very soon, as the President has indicated. So I don't think we need to go back to that. The issue of the sporting facilities, I think the National Assembly members who have benefited from those sporting facilities can respond to the questioner who says, where are they? You know, so I think those ones I don't think I need to talk about. The health facilities, unfortunately, I know CRR is always, you know, yeah, very unfortunate in terms of. I feel with you. But I think. Yes. It's all part of the plan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, you know, CRR North will have not only more than one health center. One health center in Honorable Speaker, maybe the one thing that I have probably skipped is this issue of Gamcel. Without going too much into detail, but I think one thing that we have to realize, we know that there's a lot of lobbying, particularly with National Assembly members. But I think we have to realize that as we speak, Gamcel is not viable. Right now, Gamcel has more liabilities than assets. Unless government pumps in money, they cannot pay salaries. That's the situation, and I don't think that's the right way to maintain. Even though we should be proud of our institutions, but really, if they are failing, I think the best way is to divest them. We are aware, we take note of some of those concerns raised. All right? I think the issue that development partners have mentioned, this issue of divestiture has been raised many years ago, but I think government has been stalling. But partners have now agreed, because whenever you divest, there has to be some redundancies, and those people have to be paid those redundancies. That is when the development partners now come and say, we are now ready to give you money to make sure that those people are paid adequately, you know, as far as they are concerned. That is the situation, but I think, I'm sure you may have some other specific, but at this point, I think we should really accept the fact that Gamcel is not viable at this point. So the earlier we divest it, I think the better. Honorable Speaker, I think I've covered a lot of the issues. I think I've covered a lot of the issues. One thing, maybe the Honorable, I guess, the member for Banjul Central, the MTEF, I want to assure you, the Honorable Minister of Finance is here, I want to assure you that the MTEF is aligned with our expenditure pattern. There is no disalignment, because the fund, when they come, those are some of the things that they look out for, all right? And that is why the Minister of Finance is always under pressure. It's always under pressure as far as expenditure is concerned. Because when you want to make a certain point, he still, you know, we have arguments all the time. Just to reassure you that we always align with the MTF. So with that, Honorable Speaker, I will beg to leave. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, be it resolved that this August Assembly
Honorable Speaker,
do adopt the motion on the State of the Nation address in the 2024 legislative year by His Excellency the President of the Republic. Those in favor, please say aye.
Honorable Speaker.
Those not in favor, please say no.
No.
The ayes have it. Yes, but before I proceed, somebody is shouting, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker. Who? Lower Salum and Nyamina Dankungu, yes?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker, because I raised a concern which is not addressed by the Vice President. And then it was a question that I relate to an agreement that was passed here, that is on the issue of the $50 million Badia funds. If some part of the proceed...
No.
Anyway, the precedent is already set by the Speaker.
I have said several times, don't distract people when they are talking. You have a right at the end of whatever he is saying, you come up with your own. How would you feel if you are distracted? Please allow members to say what they want to say. Yes, Honorable, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. But then I think this time around, the distraction comes from at the level of the minister, not from the members. What I'm saying, I asked a question that I relate to an agreement that was passed here with regard of the $50 million that was approved by this parliament for the importation of petroleum products and other essential services. And then I put a question whether some part of that money is used for agriculture, like rice cultivation.
Honorable member, yes, I remember you posing that question. It's unfortunate that the Honorable Vice President may not be able to answer all the questions. It's not a likely thing. But honorable members are free to put questions to them for either written or oral answers as you request, specific to those issues. Now, I don't know, I'm coming. Who is sitting next to him? Loa Salum, you have moved. Yes, you want to say something different?
Yes, no, this is why...
Honorable, no, answer my question. You want to say something different or on the same issue?
The same issue and different.
Yeah, on the same issue, you are going to say the same thing.
No, I'm coming. I just want to help you your
Are you not going to say that that question is not answered?
It's not answered. And
yeah, that's what you are going to say?
No. Honorable Speaker.
No. Honorable, please. Are you going to say something different? If you are going to say what the honorable member for Nyamina West said, that is, his question is not answered, which I acknowledge, because I myself, I remember him asking that question. So what else are you going to put forward?
Something different.
Something different. May I hear it?
Yes. Honorable Speaker, the reason why we make that proposal is because the Vice President will not be in the capacity to answer all issues that was raised by the members. When ministers are here, they can help the Vice President because this was the procedures that we take before and answer issues. Because he is not in the capacity to answer all issues that affect ministry and departments.
Member, I think you posed this question. I allowed you to continue, but you are repeating. Oh, listen, you are repeating after I have made a decision. I have told you that this address, this SONA address, is a summation of government's policies and programs. You cannot expect even honorable ministers, if you want to ask them certain questions, they must go and do research. So what I try to tell you is it's still open for you to put up these questions either to the Vice President or to the honorable ministers. Two, I'm sure the Vice President would have hinted something on that question if he had not forgotten about it. So this is what I'm saying. I want to believe that that question is relevant and it should be answered. Why don't you put a question, Honorable Member for Nyamina Dankuku?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think what the Vice President could have been done was not to avoid mentioning it at all, to tell me I did not have the question, the answer for your question, but I will provide it later. That's what I was expecting if he did not have the answer.
Observe, Honorable Member, that immediately you said it, the Vice President got up to try to come and answer. It means it was an omission. Yeah, when immediately you said it, before I gave him the floor, he stood up to come to respond, that indicates that it must have been an omission. All right. Yes. Honorable Member, Vice, can you say something on that, please?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Actually, it was an omission. It was, as you saw me, I was trying to I can give you answer, but I think the general demand is the Minister of Finance want to come, then I can allow the Minister of Finance to come. No. Because that's...
You can make a ruling on that. You cannot.
Honorable Member, there should be no dialogue, please. I told you at the onset that the Honorable Vice President can call any minister to come and answer to respond to anything. This is what I told you. So if he chooses to do that, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much, and Honorable Your Excellency Vice President and Cabinet colleagues here in present. On the existing protocol, I've been requested by His Excellency Vice President to shed light on the questions asked. And when we brought this facility here, we were very transparent with this August Assembly. The ratification was done with the draft agreement that the government of the Gambia had with Badia. And I will hasten to give a preamble to this facility. This is a facility of its first kind ever in the history of this country. This facility was conceived on the sidelines of the annual meeting of the World Bank. And it coincided at a time when we could not access foreign currency for the importation of essential commodities. I have personal and privileged relationship with the CEO of Badia, and I raised the national demand and challenge to him in Washington. Then he told me we have a facility that can be used for the importation of essential commodities. That is the background to all of this. And the facility, government will be the lender, but it's for the private sector. We brought it here, and the terms were explicitly mentioned as such. We have specifically mentioned when we were ratifying the agreement here that any cost from this facility would be borne by the private sector. We, as a Ministry of Finance, are responsible for resource mobilization. But because it was a trade matter, we referred the file to the Ministry of Trade. The Ministry of Trade has called in all the importers of essential commodity to a stakeholder meeting. And minutes of that meetings are with the Ministry of Trade. 18 participants in the sectors were brought forward. Terms and conditions of the facility were explained in detail. These facilities require an upfront fees of payment of $750,000 US, which is non-refundable. It's very clear. And the facility was lying unattended. The successful entrepreneur, that is Jar Oil, came forward to pay the $750 non-refundable fee. It's not refundable, and it's paid. The records are there, and it's not refundable. The facility is a $50 million facility which has 3 tranches. The first tranche is $15 million, the second tranche is $20 million, and the last tranche is $15 million. And the facility is not a long-term facility. When we were bringing the facility here, the duration was 120 days, within which the facility will be repaid back. It could not be utilized. We had to go back to Badia and say, please extend the period of the facility. And the facility period was extended from 120 days to 180 days. And in 3 tranches. As we speak, only the first tranche was utilized. The proprietor happened to be in other sectors. But these tranches, there is no physical money involved. All that is involved is you have your trade financing facility, you send all your documents to Badia, the legal department of Badia will check against the agreement that all conditions are approved and are consistent with the financing agreement before they will process the transaction. This is what happened. And in that way, it is not possible that this facility be used for agricultural production, because we all know the life cycle of agriculture is more than 6 months, typically. So this is what I am saying. And the utilization of the facility is jointly monitored by Badia as well as the government. Currently, as we speak, it is the first phase that is being utilized, and the second phase is next. In fact, the first phase, the due repayment date will be at the end of the August period. So this is how the facility has been utilized. And when the discussion happened, there was a lot of noise about this facility. JA came forward to say, I paid $48 million. If any private sector operator can refund me and take the facility. It's on record. We as a ministry, as a government, are transparent about this facility. There is no vested interest. Everything is above board. So this is what I understand. The question was whether part of the facility was used in agriculture. How he finances his agricultural intervention is not our concern. What is our concern is what is the spirit and the letter of the financing agreement is verified and agreed by Badia. Only then will Badia proceed with disbursement. That is the clarification. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, in fact, before the Vice President responded, I should have asked you to move a motion to rescind the adoption of the motion we earlier put. So I will now ask the Honorable Member for Nyamena West to move a motion to rescind our original adoption of the motion. So we put a motion again. Move a motion that we rescind the earlier motion on SONA. Nyamina Dankunku.
Can you repeat your statement?
I said, you know, I've already put a question for us to adopt the motion on SONA, and I put it and it was passed. Now, to allow this to happen, prior to the Vice President coming back again, we should have rescinded the earlier motion, so that we will put it fresh after his comments.
Why choosing me rather than putting a question that let any member can move for the assembly to rescind a decision?
I'm not hearing.
I say, why choosing me to rescind the decision? Any member can you just put a question.
So it's an easy job.
Any member can rescind his decision.
Honorable members, no, I chose you not for anything else, but I think you were after we have closed up, I gave you the chance to come back on it. So I think it will be fair, but any other member can move it.
Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Let me allow any member to come with the motion.
Honorable Speaker.
Thank you,
Speaker.
Thank you very much. I move the motion that we rescind our earlier decision. Thank you.
Any seconder? Yara Central.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Motion seconded.
It has been moved and seconded that the earlier decision to adopt the motion on SONA be rescinded. Those in favor, please say aye. Not in favor, please say no. Who is saying no? No, Salum. You don't create problems, please. You interrupted us for us to go back on this. How can you come back on the same thing?
I said no. I disagree.
The ayes have it. Now, honorable members, I will put back the question. I will now put the question. Be resolved that this August Assembly do adopt the motion on the State of the Nation address in the 2024 legislative year by His Excellency the President of the Republic. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, let me, on your behalf, thank His Excellency the Vice President for ably representing His Excellency the President of the Republic and responding to your questions as much as possible. Equally, I want to commend honorable ministers here in present for sparing time to be with us from morning to now. It only indicates your commitment to duty. We thank you very much. And to you all honorable members, I'm sure the debate has been very insightful. Your contributions were insightful, very informative. And I thank you all for your contributions. I now put the question, honorable members, be resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Wednesday, 3rd July 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. This Assembly now stands adjourned until Wednesday, 3rd July 2024 at